to you live from the Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens. My name is Michelle and I'm a bird keeper here at the zoo. Today we are visiting our bird eagle exhibit. You can see them back there both sitting up in the nest. We do have Glory and Davidson. And with the bald eagle being the national emblem of the United States, I'm hoping you guys know at least a little bit about these birds so far. But today we are going to have some trivia questions as we go through our talk to see exactly how much you know about them. To even start us off, I do have our first question, so hopefully we do have some people tuning in with us already to help us answer these questions. If you are watching live, feel free to drop your answers in a comment, and we're going to give a shout out to whoever answers the question correctly first. So, true or false, are bald eagles bald? I know there's a little delay, so we're going to let you guys send in your answers to us. We do have an answer of false.
Yessie and Scarlett both said false. Rebecca just joined in, also said false.
Nice job, guys. It is false. So even though that is their name, the bald eagle, they kind of just look bald because their head is completely covered in white feathers. Now, the bald eagle, they can be found all over North America, even up into Canada and Alaska. And dating back to about the 1900s, this species was in a lot of trouble and their numbers were declining very quickly. So much so that around 1970, there was only about 400 mating bird pairs left. So I do have another question for you. True or false, the bald eagle is still on the endangered species list? Another tricky one. Give you guys a couple seconds to answer.
Charlotte says false and Rachel says true.
Oh, a toss-up. So it's false. Now, they did almost get wiped out, and that's because for many decades they were hunted for sport and also because of the use of different chemicals and pesticides, one of the main ones being DDT. Now, DDT was very harmful to the bald eagle, and that's because as it was used in the environment, it would go into the waterways and collect in fish, and the bald eagle primarily eats fish, and as they would consume it, they would also consume DDT, and it had a very bad effect on when they would lay eggs in the outer covering of their shell. It was kind of very flimsy, it wasn't sustainable, and therefore they couldn't reproduce. So unfortunately, it did have a very bad reaction. But around 1972, DDT was restricted, and that was the same exact time that we actually saw the bald eagle's numbers increase, and in 1995, they were actually taken off of the endangered species list. Now today, they're actually a least concerned species and their numbers are increasing, so that's a very good sign. Now, bald eagles, they do have many adaptations that help them in their lifestyle. They do have that very long, sharp pointed beak. That's going to be used for ripping and tearing. They also have the really strong legs, feet, and very large talons. That's going to be for catching and killing. Now, these birds are opportunistic feeders, so sometimes they're a predator, sometimes they're a scavenger, and their main diet, again, is mostly going to be fish. That's what they're going to be eating. But a lot of times, they don't fish for themselves. They wait for other birds or people to do the fishing for them. So bald eagles are notorious for stealing food from other animals, and most of the time if you see them having an interaction with the bird up in the air, it's mostly an osprey. So what they do is they wait for the osprey to go fishing, the osprey will catch the fish, and then the bald eagle's going to come along and harass that osprey until they drop that fish, where they can then snatch it up. But not only that, they are strong enough where they can grab that fish right out of the osprey's talons and fly off with it. Now, when they do decide to go hunting and fishing for themselves, they do fly very close to the water. That way they can snatch the fish by surprise that are at the surface, or they'll be soaring really high up in the air or sitting up on a high perch looking down and scanning for their food. And once they do, they dive down for it. So I do have another question for you. So when a bald eagle goes to dive for its food, it can dive up to A, 25 miles per hour, B, 50 miles per hour, or C, 100 miles per hour to snatch a fish from the water. So again, when it's diving down, 25 miles per hour, 50, or 100 to snatch its food. Let's see if we can get some new people answering too. That's
Charlotte says B.
Okay, we got a 50 miles per hour. So they can actually dive down up to 100 miles per hour in order to catch their prey. Now, another question for you, back to back here. True or false? The eagle's most developed sense is its vision, which is what helps them find their prey. So do they mostly use their vision?
Well, while we're waiting for those to come in, we have a lot of people who had the right answer on it. They are on the endangered species list.
Okay.
Rebecca,
Rebecca.
Michelle, Julia,
Way to go, Julia.
We're all got that right.
Did anyone get the question right for diving down at 100 miles per hour?
Well, Charlotte said 100 miles an hour.
Charlotte.
That's crazy.
It is a little crazy, but they're quick.
And Rebecca says true.
It is true. So eagles do have a very keen full color vision. That's why they are very high up in the air soaring around, or they're going to be at the top of the perch up in the tree, because that allows them to scan the entire area below them to look for food. Now, with the bald eagle as well, if you don't notice them by that coloration that you know them by, that brown body with that white head, a lot of times you'll know that you have them in your environment because they build these massive nests together. So bald eagles are monogamous, so they're going to just have one mate for their entire life, and when they do go to build their nest, they actually do it together. And then year after year, when they come back to that same nest, they're just going to keep adding more sticks and debris to it so that it gets larger and larger every single year. So that's how a lot of people notice them. Kind of when you look up, or maybe at the top of a light pole or something, you see that huge nest up there, that's a bald eagle. Now, when they lay their eggs, they do lay about 1 to 3, but it's mostly 2 chicks in the nest. And both the male and female are going to be protecting that nest and tending to the chicks, going out and getting food and bringing it back to feed them. Now, the juveniles, they do look quite different from the adults. You can definitely tell when a bald eagle turns into an adult. So I do have another question for you. At what age does a bald eagle mature? Let's see if we get the right answer.
A lot of people knew that the eyesight is their most developed sense.
Okay, yep, so their eyesight is very, very good. We had some answers on that one.
Rebecca, Julia.
Rebecca again, Julia, you guys are doing good
Chris,
today.
Scarlett. Rachel says 5 years.
Ooh, Rachel with the right answer there. Yes, it is around 4 to 5 years that a bald eagle matures. Now, when they are a juvenile, they have a very mottled brown and white coloration, so that's most of the time when people confuse them for another species of bird. Right when they hit that 4 to 5 years of age, that's when they're going to transition. They're going to turn into that beautiful bald eagle that we know, with that brown body, that bright white head, and that yellow beak. Now, when they are juvenile, though, that's when they spend most of their time just flying around, exploring different territories, and they have been known to travel about hundreds of miles every single day. Now, with that, true or false, an eagle can have a wingspan of 8 feet.
Charlotte says true.
True, yes, that is how.
Yeah,
that has to be true. If they're spending all their time flying around, they have to have very strong wings. That allows them to spend most of their time soaring instead of flapping the entire time, so that they can travel those long distances. Now here we do have 2 males. I did mention we have Corey and Davidson. And how we got them here at the zoo is they're actually rehab birds. So they were injured in their natural habitat, and they did go to the Audubon Bird of Prey Center to rehab, and it was during that time that they noticed that they had both injured their wings, so much so that they could no longer fly, so unfortunately they couldn't be re-released into their natural habitat. But lucky for us, we did have space for them, and thanks to the Seminole Harley Owners Group, we did get a huge donation, thank you guys, to help build this exhibit for them. We were able to take them in and care for them and share them with you. Now, it is an open-air exhibit because, again, they can no longer fly, but allows them to feel like they are still in their natural habitat. When we first did put them together, we were kind of like, they're differing in size a lot. Do we have both males or both females? We don't know. So we did sex them. We found out we did have 2 boys, even though they differ in size. So that does bring me to my next question. In general, are female or male bald eagles larger? female or male larger?
In the meantime, Rachel loves the bald eagle on the social distancing shirt for the zoo. Can't wait to get theirs.
Yes. These are just hanging out in their nest today. This is pretty much what they do in the wild. This is what they do in their house as well. Hang out, sit up high in their nest. You got one?
Yes, he says male, and Julia
Male?
says male.
Alright, so we got some male answers coming in. Actually, it's female, so it's with a lot of bird of prey species, pretty much all of them. The female does tend to be larger than the male, so I stumped you guys on that one. I got one question on you today. Now, other than that, we do have just another fun trivia question for you. So if you guys have ever watched a movie before that has a bald eagle in it, you've probably heard that really majestic, loud, long call. It's not an eagle at all. So, which bird species vocalization are they actually using when they portray an eagle in a movie? So I'm telling you, it's not a bald eagle. It's a real tricky one. It's the last one. We're going to see who gets the last one right.
Rachel says hawk.
It is a hawk. Does anyone know what type of hawk? Hard one. It's a native species to Florida.
Rebecca, Scarlett, and Christine all say hawk also.
Hawk also. Yes, you guys are correct. It is a hawk.
Julia says red-tailed hawk.
Yay, Julia! It is a red-tailed hawk. So eagles actually have a pretty wimpy voice compared to what they're portrayed as. It's more like a squeak or a high-pitched chirp that they use. And since I did ask you guys a lot of questions today, if you have any more questions that you have that I didn't answer about these guys, please feel free to comment right now. We'll see if we have any questions to answer. If not, we can just have our boys sitting up there. The way that we tell our boys apart is Davidson is the smaller one, so we can tell them apart by size. But Glory, we say he has racing stripes on the side of his head because he actually has some black feathers going down the side of his face as well. So that's how we tell our boys apart. We have, if you're watching, Glory's on the left and then Davidson's higher up on the right.
Charlotte visited the zoo 5 years ago and saw these two eagles.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you, and we hope that you get to come back and visit us again. Hopefully shorter than less than 5 years ago, but thank you guys so much for joining into Zoo to You today. My name's Michelle, coming from the Central Florida Zoo Botanical Gardens. We'll see you next time. Thank you.